Now that we have installed this NWC exporter on our Revit, let's go and get the output of any of the files together. Well, I first come here in Revit links and I will unload these two carefully. This is just my architecture file. Now I come to the file section, export and NWC. There is nothing special here, just give it a place to save. For example, when I come and say that I want to save it here, you can make a folder NWC here and save it. Here, when you click Navisworks setting, it brings you a series of options for export. It's good to check some of the options that is there, no problem with your export. Well, this palette that opens here, let me give you an explanation about it. Look here, in fact, the most important topic that exists in this export section, which must be on the entire project. That's it, you should not put this on the other two. Check that it's definitely on the entire project. The rest of it doesn't have a lot of special things. It doesn't have a special explanation. That's it, let it be on this option. Just make sure that this export section is on the entire project. I click on OK and save it here. And here comes a window for me and I should wait until this export is completed. As you can see, it fills up somehow. Now at first it may be like take a while, but it doesn't usually take very long. As you can see, this project that we are working on is a large project, but it doesn't take very long. You have to do this for all the disciplines. In fact, it's better to do this once for all files. And you have to prepare the NWC export, which is the input format of Navisworks. Well, this file's NWC export is now completed. And if I go here, I see that it has taken an NWC export from my architecture file. Well, I have to do the same for the rest of the files. I took that NWC export before and created a folder here. And I took the NWC export from all my Revit files. Well, the next step is to import these NWC exports into Navisworks. I open Navisworks for this, and I have to import my files here. I open a new file in Navisworks. We are working with the latest version of Navisworks, version 2026. As you know, in order for me to import several different NWC files into Navisworks, which are actually different disciplines of the project, I have to use an append command. I mean, I can do it with open, I have to append. Now you can open the first one, you can do it with open, but append also works. It doesn't make much difference for the first file. Well, I come here, I append, and I start importing each of these NWCs. For example, first I import one of the architecture files, like this. I reappend and import the files, just like this. Then I go to the settings, I reappend these two files. Then all fall on top of each other because these are the correct numbers. Be careful, guys, if the numbers are not correct, when you reappend them, they don't fall on top of each other. Either you have to go get the original NWC file based on the internal one, or based on the shared coordinated. I mean, you have to see which ones are reading together. You have to make sure you have them. Now, of course, if the numbers are not correct, you also will have a problem in the modeling. Finally, I reappend in the architecture file, and it looks like this. Now I have imported all of this project into Navisworks. As you can see, all of these files are here in the section 3. Right, so this is the second step. The first step is to get the original NWC file. The second step is to reappend these files in Navisworks. Now let's talk about clash detection in Navisworks. Guys, you know that when you use Navisworks, your model is much more stable than when you work in Revit. Navisworks is not like that at all. Your model is very stable and you can work very easily. As you can see, when I got the NWC files, it was very fast to get them into Navisworks because it was very fast. Let's talk about clash detection. I come here from the Home tab, I activate the clash detection. This palette opens for me here. Let's talk about how we come and model different items together. Guys, first you have to come here and add a test. For each category you want to do the clash detection, you have to add a test. Guys, we never clash detection all projects together. We don't come and say that all of the infrastructures in with the facilities. We don't come and say that the architecture with all the facilities. We never do clash detection like this in Navisworks. We come and clash detection different categories together. Now the question here is that what category do you have to clash detect together? In this environment, what objects are usually clash detected together? Because you don't have to clash detect all of the objects together. But a number of objects are very important and it's good that you know how to clash detection. Guys, we have a clash matrix that I put the image here for you. I also put in the file so that you can have it and use it. What exactly is clash matrix? Let me give you an explanation about it. Look, it has listed different items in the disciplines here. For example, it says that in architectural discipline, we have ceilings, curtain panels, mullions, doors, and doors, shelves, ramps, roofs, and so on. Let's go to the building discipline. It says that in the building discipline, we have columns, foundation, floors. It means building frames, truss, and walls. It also lists a building discipline here. All of these are listed on this page. As you can see, it says architecture, building, and foundations. Now, how does this clash matrix actually works? How do you use it to know which categories you have to clash detect together in the future? Look here, we start from the top. It says ceilings. You have to check with all of these to see what is written on this page. Ceilings cannot be clashed with the ceilings themselves. Ceilings can be clashed with curtain panels from the type of clashing that I explained to you. Ceilings can be clashed with mullions, with doors, floors, railing, ramps, and roofs. No need for clash. Ceilings cannot be clashed with columns, with foundations, with slabs, but they can be clashed with framing and with slabs. Let's go down. Ceilings cannot be clashed with air terminals. They can be clashed with ductile fitting from the type of clearance and with tolerance of 50. The number is also written for you. What you see here is actually another standard that is used in the future. This clash matrix is actually based on a standard that says you need to clash these objects together in the future. It has written its type, and in fact, it has written the type of clashing. It has also specified the places where the tolerance was necessary. It has also specified a number of objects that do not need to be clashed together. For example, ceilings, foundations do not be clashed together. Or for example, ceilings and windows do not need to be clashed together. Now you can say that, for example, the height of our workbench should be such that it has access to a window, but these are usually things that you see in modeling. It's not like you don't notice it. Now you can change yourself based on the project you have. Maybe, for example, you are working on a project and you want to clash a number of other items. It's not like you can say only based on this standard, but now we want to go ahead and clash a number of these projects together so that you can learn the meaning of them. Otherwise, in every project, the categories may be different. But based on the standard, if you want to go ahead, it's better to clash these items together and actually pass them on. So this is how you come and look at each of these categories one by one to see which one you should be clashing and what kind of clashing should be done. Whenever you move forward in this chart and reach about the middle of the chart, you can check these items together. For example, you check this way up to here. From here, you have to check this way. You check these bottom ones. Now, it doesn't make any difference at all. It's matrix. It's not a very different. Note this part as well. Okay, and there's a legend here that has told you when I wrote H, I mean harsh clash. And harsh clash is a kind of clashing that gives you interference in the report. That is, if two objects have interferences with the tolerance you specify, it becomes clear in this clashing. Where it says C, it means clearance clashing. Clearance is actually when two objects should not be closer to each other by any means. This is called clearance clashing. It says here that I specified that if you're going to clash this, what kind of tolerance should you use? For example, one of them says that it's a millimeter. It also specifies an A here. It is not necessary to clash it. Right, and now we want to do a few cases of this clash matrix that we have here. We want to do a few cases of this clash matrix together so that you can familiar with the process of clashing. Let's go and do this together. For example, I come and say I do ceilings with framing. Right. Let's see how it is. When you enter Navisworks and click on clash detection here, in order to create categories, first you have to create a test here. As I said, click on add test, and here it is better that I give it the name of the categories. That's it. I'll say that this test that I have created here is for clashing with object. So here I'll go ahead and write ceiling and framing. And I will click on OK. Right. Now, how do I come and say that I want to clash the ceilings with framings in this test? Here you see that you have a A and B section. You have to select the ceilings. You have to select the arrows in another selection. How do I do this? Guys, we have three ways. First, I tell you the best way I think there is. Second, I will give you a complete explanation. Look, for us to come in this selection and select the categories we want, it's good to come and make a series of each of these. How? I come here and click on Find Item, and I come here and add condition. I come here and say that the element that I come down, their category is equal to with what? Here, first you have to come and select the file in which you want to select the object. For example, the ceiling or in architecture. I come and select the architecture equal to, I click here and select the ceiling. I come and say the element that their category is equal to ceiling. These are the things you have to know about Navisworks. For example, you should know that this category is in the element header in the Navisworks properties. That is, if I come here and open the properties and select an object, I can see its category in its element header. Anyway, you should have some knowledge about them. If you can't use what I used here, you should also enter these elements. Category is equal to ceiling, right? I come here and click on Find All. As you can see in the selection 3, a series of ceilings has been selected for me. As they are in the selection state, I come here and click on Save Selection and name it Ceiling. I have to save them here. Right, that's it. What was next? The next was framing. Framing is in which file? It is in the architecture file. So I select the architecture file. I come here again and say the element category is equal to framing. Then I come down and look for structural framing. I click on Find All again, and the arrow in my project are selected. As they are in selection state, I come here and click on Save Selection and name it Framing. Here you can actually save your search. Well, now I have come and created the categories that I needed. In fact, I selected the objects and made a saved selection of them. I saved them. If I close it now and click on it, you will see that all ceilings are selected. Or if you click on it, all the arrows are selected. Now, for you to see better, I come here and hide the architecture. Now I select framing. Here you can see all of the arrows that are actually in architecture file, and I selected them. So this is one of the best ways I think there is. Just be careful, guys. When you type in find item, you must first select the appropriate file from the files. For example, when I want to find a framing, I must first click on architecture file. So if it will go to that file and find it. If you don't select your file from here, when you type in find item, it will give you an error. And it will say, for example, I didn't select anything. I didn't actually find anything. So be careful about this. Well, now that I've made these selections, how do I specify them for this test? I come here, I select the test. I come and say in the A selection, put this on the set. Here is the ceiling. This is also on the set. This is one of the framing, so ceiling with framing. See, this is one of the ways that I think is good. One of the good ways to make your categories. You can use it. Just be careful, guys, that this method of selecting objects and creating a category for framing is suitable for a time when your project is finished and we are not going to have any other change to this file. If you are in the middle of a project and instead of taking a NWC output, enter the review file directly into Navisworks and click on it. Every time you change a file and update it in Navisworks, you have to make a save selection again. Because with the update of this file, your save selection does not change. This is something I saved. If I increase or decrease the arrow here, for example, increase the height of the ceiling, it will not be noticed. If I have cleaned the ceiling or added a ceiling, nothing will be added to these save selections. So when you are in middle of a project, this method may not be very suitable because you have to clean them every time or update them. And this may take some of your time if you're not in the middle of a project, the project is finished. I think this method is the best because it does not change and it's very easy to work with. You can create any categories you need. What are the other two ways to select objects, you may ask? This method is very suitable for a simple task. If you have not yet completed your modeling and you're making changes to your file, this method is very suitable for you. Instead of making a save selection, I come here and I select the A selection. I put this in the properties. I go up. I will select element here and I will go down again. I will look for a category and I will choose the category that I want. For example, I'll say ceiling. That's it. Instead of making a save selection, I use the properties here. I say element category and I click on the category I want. I do the same for this part. I put this in the properties again. So here I will put it on the properties again and I will go up. I say element, I open this and I'll go down. I'll go select categories, and here I look for structural framing, and this is it. So this is always the second method. For times when you can actually make changes to your objects, you can use this method because it is always updated with your file. But these two are not updated. This is always from second method, which is also a good method. The third method that I do not recommend very much, for example, you come to a file. Now, this is suitable for small projects. It's not very useful for large projects. For example, I come here and I isolate this. Then I come and select the arrows from here, and I will select the arrows, and I'll come to select the same. I say, for example, same type, same name, or something like that. You see? Like this, here some of your arrows may fall off, and in general, it's not very suitable method for large projects because it's not a confident method. Why is it good method for small projects? Maybe you just want to isolate a part of this project. Maybe it can be suitable for you. But for a large project, in my opinion, it is not a good method at all. But if you want to work with this method in a small project, we come and select one of the objects, same time or same name, and then I come here and I specify it. We say use current selection. It selects them for you. Then, for example, let's say I come here and unhide again. I keep the architecture. And now I have to come here and select the table. It's not a very simple thing or something like that. I have to do the same thing for the second category, and then I have to run the test. I say this method is not a very good method. The two methods I told you are better. You can use any of them to create your categories.